Hungry ones, my name is Joe, and you're at the Joe is Hungry channel, where today we're headed over to Panera's to check out their newest limited time frou-frou food item, bring it back to the studio to see if it's really worth it, right here within the city limits of Fairmount, Georgia. Before I proceed with this video, I would like to send a special shout out to David R. Thank you for your generous support of the channel. I know the cats will appreciate it. The Exceptional Everyman, your super thanks are greatly appreciated. Dan, thank you for supporting the channel, and happy birthday. Mandy and Joe, happy birthday, and thank you for your support. Charlie, Lydia, Bradley and Josh, Jose, Rolo, Jonah, and Ryan, I want to wish each and every one of you a very hungry happy birthday. Panera's latest creation is the Croque Monsieur Croissant toast, which is basically a toasted ham and cheese sandwich on fancy bread. And according to Panera, it is constructed with black forest ham, melted provolone and Asiago cheese, caramelized onions, Gruyere spread, which is Swiss cheese-like spread for the sophisticated, on buttered croissant toast. Each one of these comes with your choice of 3 sides, including a small bag of chips, a French baguette, or an apple. A single Croque Monsieur, minus the side, will add 440 calories to your expanding waistline. I have the full nutritional information on the screen and in the description below. If you want to add to your culinary popularity and possess one of these, you're going to have to shell out a staggering $9.79 before taxes in Georgia. And this doesn't even include a drink. So you may ask, is this a Panera deal of the century? Or just more overpriced, low-cost food with a fancy name? Well, we're going to find out in a second when we roll the drive-thru at Panera in Cartersville, Georgia.
Thank you for choosing Panera. Give me one moment, please.
Sure.
You can go ahead and order.
Okay, could I get 4 Croque Monsieur Croissant sandwiches or toasts?
Okay, you said 4, correct?
Correct.
That comes out to $41.92.
Thank you, my dear. I've got my Croque Monsieur. Let's pull off to the side and do the Joe is Hungry temperature test. Croque Monsieur number 1 is 121.1 degrees Fahrenheit. Croque Monsieur number 2 is 113.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Croque Monsieur number 3 is 101.8 degrees Fahrenheit. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know I like my temperatures way hotter than this. In particular, I like them to be 140 degrees or above. But after all, it is Panera. So today, you fail the Joe is Hungry temperature test. Now it's time to peel back the layers, get a really close look, get ready to weigh this croissant, head back to the studios and do the Joe is Hungry weight test. Well, Panera, you didn't do so well on that temperature test. There's this thing called maintaining safe temperatures. We're really big on that here. Maybe you need to Google it for the next time. Also, this thing comes with 3 sides. They're all very different in their weights. By default, they give you chips. So I'm going to weigh the sandwich alone and give you 2 prices at the end. One with chips and one without. But not before we take off for the packaging. In other words, set the tare again on the scale. Croissant toast number 1 weighs in at 5.70 ounces or 161 grams. Croissant toast number 2 weighs in at 5.95 ounces or 168 grams. Croissant toast number 3 weighs in at 6.35 ounces or 180 grams, while the difference between the heaviest and the lightest is actually slightly more than 10% of the average weight of all three, but it's not very much. So today, I'm going to let Panera slip by on the Joe is Hungry consistency weight test. Well, Panera, they don't give us any serving weights in their nutritional information. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to see why. But that leaves us only one more thing to do, and that is add them all up, average them out, do the math. And if you don't have any sides, the sandwich all alone will cost you $1.63 an ounce. But if you add in a potato chip for 1 ounce, that's going to bring the price down to $1.40 an ounce. All I can say is this thing better be a good tasting sandwich, which leads us on to the next test, the one and only, the Joe is Hungry Big Reveal. This is what it looks like, and this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it looks like, and this is what it's supposed to look like. We've seen what it looks like, and we saw how much it was. Wow, what a price. And as far as what it looks like, it's not too terribly far off. This kind of looks like an anemic version of the photo, although the photo itself looks a little anemic to me. I did notice one thing. We are missing a main ingredient. There are no caramelized onions in this. Guys, Panera, what in the world are you doing over there? Oh my goodness. Well, that leaves one more test, and y'all know what it is. It's the Joe is Hungry bite test. So it is bite test, engage. The bread was only crispy around the edges and definitely not in the center, not at all. They do seem to have an adequate amount of Black Forest ham, but they didn't go crazy piling it on. The cheese did have a nice smoky flavor, but really nothing special, nothing that you would write home to your mother about. I can't taste the caramelized onions at all. Maybe that's because they're not there. Panera, what's going on with that? With that behind us, I would like to see what happened with Shadow Joe and do the Joe is Hungry Sneakadoodle Bite. Sneakadoodle Bite number 1. Sneakadoodle Bite number 2. Sneakadoodle Bite number 3. I can definitely taste the cheese. I can pick up on a little bit of ham. I think this thing should have been a lot crispier than it is, and a little bit more of a sandwich for 10 bucks. So let's go ahead and give this thing a score. If you don't know my scale is 1 to 10, 9 being the best. Anything above 9 is a once in a lifetime experience and almost never achieved. 5 and down is that slippery slope to the pits and depths of fast food hell. So let's go ahead and give this the number that it truly deserves. Panera. I guess we're paying for the name, not the sandwich. What a shame. For that kind of money, I expect something special, something I'll remember. I get better than this at Hardee's. I just don't know. Missing ingredients, unsafe temperatures, and an astronomical price. I'm gonna have to go That is my number, this is my review, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.